All right. Good evening, everybody. Let's do a audio and visual check. How's everybody doing? How are you, Coach Jay?
Doing good, Dakota. Doing good. How are you?
Good. It was quite an amazing day, or end to. It's quite the end of today.
Yeah,
The
it
end of the
was.
day
What
today.
a
If
trade.
you caught Power Hour, that was something else. How about yours? How about you? Looks like you sound and everything okay. So how was your day?
Yeah. It was a good day. It was a good day. I had some traded on fast markets. We did catch a long in fast markets. Looking for the actual, eventual trade that you guys caught in Power Hour. It just took all day, but we caught part of it. And then I did have a couple of trades in the S&Ps as well. Crude oil trade that got, you know, I got stopped out for break even. But pretty good day overall.
Pretty good. Good. How about everything that's it's probably on everyone's mind. Everybody probably knows. But before we get started, as always, there's our Topstep risk disclosure. Everything we talk about is for educational purposes only, not a signals class. Trust me, you'd be surprised, Coach Jay. You probably see it. How many traders still think that, how many traders actually still follow follow our trades? Like, yeah, they're just trading, wanting us to blow our own accounts. It's like time and time again, we say it every single day in, day out. Do not copy our trades. It's for educational purposes
Agreed.
only. So that is always crazy when I see it. But NVIDIA, you have the at the bell at the end of
Yep.
the New York session. You do at the bell. How was that?
At the buzzer.
NVIDIA
At the buzzer.
at the buzzer. How was that? And how's NVIDIA?
It was a wild reaction, like we would expect. We saw Nvidia sell off almost $10 and immediately get bought right back up. It closed the session at 145 bucks, and right now is it's trading at 142. So tomorrow's going to be interesting. Tomorrow's going to be interesting for sure. It looks like Nvidia beat on their earnings, but we know that doesn't always mean that the market's going to go up. The market's going to respond how it wants to. But the one thing I think it will bring us some volatility. So I'm excited to trade tomorrow. We saw, the Nasdaq, because Nvidia leads the Nasdaq, selling off about 100 points in the overnight session as well, and bounce back. So tomorrow should be pretty good when we get the volume to come back into stocks. Should be a good morning session.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Did you trade today?
I did. Yeah, I traded the Nasdaq. We caught a long in the Nasdaq. If you have my charts up, I can
Yeah, I'll
show.
I'll get them up right there. Should be able to see 'em.
What we were looking at. And if you guys remember, the trade we took in the house account initially was off of this candle right here. The high of the candle, 567. It's funny because we said when we took the trade, we're going to MOC this one. We ended up taking it off because it came back to our entry.
Okay.
But it was the right idea, right? The stop was under 17.5, 517.5. Why did we set it there? We had this high volume, which was higher than the open. We said, if the market closes above that, then any shorts should be covering. They just waited all day to cover, right? They tried to sell it a couple times, but every time we got back to this 550, 560 area, buyers stepped back in again. And then ultimately, towards the end of the day, if you're short and you don't want to hold into what is the most volatile earnings, you're probably going to close that position. So that's that rally that you guys caught. Pretty much 100 points to the upside with no drawdown.
Yeah, that was an insane trade. I posted it immediately. I got it. I know. And it's less about the money, Coach Jay, but it was nice to kind of go over how I like to trail stops on the 100 tick charts. I get that question all the time. Is how do you trail stops? How do you trail stops? And that was a beautiful example that sometimes when you're trailing it right and you follow the process, and not think about the dollar amounts and purely think about the process, sometimes you catch a trade like that. So let's get to it. Let's get over. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to my charts, and we'll do the regular rapid fire. I am in position, just so everybody knows. I am long the Nikkei from 38,125, or let's see, for this one it's 38,065. I'll cover that, but let's go through the rapid fire. I'll talk about the Nasdaq, crude oil, then we'll get to the Nikkei, which is the Japanese market, and we'll finish it up with gold and maybe have a conversation with Bitcoin, trader statistics, and see if there's any other trade opportunities going into tonight. And if you see anything, Coach Jay, just shout it out, let me know, and we can chat about it. So here's the daily on the Nasdaq. As you could see, we had that sell off earlier, and from Thursday, Friday, this week, Monday, Tuesday, and today, and going into tonight, we're kind of consolidating. Now, consolidating is a thing of a conversation. Is, are we consolidating or are we not? And that's maybe one of the number one questions traders always try and find out is, when are we consolidating and when are we trending? And the sooner you could figure that out, the better off you are as a trader. But this consolidation over the last few days has been very volatile. It's been a very big consolidation range. The low of it has been around 400s. The upper end of it has been pretty close to the upper 700s. And so we've had that big sell-off. We've got a decent sized pullback up to like these 820s, 830s. And are we going to see a continuation down, maybe back towards 20,100s, maybe 20,200s? Or are we going to continue to consolidate in this range? Maybe look to see if we can find some buyers, build some market structure, and push back up to make a run up at some new all-time highs. What's your thoughts on that, Coach Jay? I know some traders are talking about your video being a little bit blurry. I'll try and adjust that on my end. That's always kind of a little bit of a headache to get it cleared up. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I'm in the matrix. It's okay. But what I'm seeing on the daily in the Nasdaq, kind of exactly what you just said. We had that sell-off last Friday, and we've been trading around 50% of that sell-off, which is right around 20,700. The 20-day moving average is also right at that level as well. I don't think that we're consolidating a little bit here. I don't think that the market is changing trend. I don't think we're going to see another sell-off, but who knows? But I would be looking for this 50% of this candle to hold as a support right around that 20,700 level. And then the target would be the high of the candle right around 21,000.
Okay, 21,000. That makes sense. You're on air tomorrow? Are you on air on TopstepTV to the day show?
I don't think so. I don't think I am.
When you go into the trading day tomorrow, what are you looking at? Do you care about tonight's price action? Do you care about the price action of like Nvidia earnings? What are you thinking of when you're preparing to trade for tomorrow?
Yeah, I am interested. It depends, right? So if we get a consolidation overnight, kind of like we got last night, we had a consolidation, then I'm expecting some price action out of that consolidation, right? This is last night's range, very choppy in the overnight session. Kind of to be expected because I don't know how much of a directional move we were going to see before Nvidia earnings, and we were at the highs of this medium time frame range. But if we open up tomorrow and we're up 1%, might be a little different, right? If we open up tomorrow here, then I'm going to be patient, right? Because if we open up where we are right now, we're in the middle of the range. And better trade location for me is going to come somewhere later, somewhere outside of this, right? At the extremes of the range, maybe at the highs or the lows. So if we open up here, I'd be patient. If we trend in either direction, that might influence my trades.
Okay, so that's the only way that overnight price action, or what we're seeing tonight after earnings, after we see some spike in volatility in the markets, is where you would say it's going to influence your trading day, is if we get a big move in one direction or the other.
Yeah, that's correct. So I'll show you exactly what I'm going to look at because I'll just map it out here. Everyone knows that I do this. So here's the first 30 minutes of the Globex opening range. Okay. Here is VWAP attached to it. When I wake up tomorrow, if I don't take a trade tonight, I'll see where this VWAP is in relation to this range. And the only other price that I'll mark out is the midnight Eastern time open. I'm looking at the first the first 3 minutes. When I look at the midnight open, I'm looking at the first 3 minutes. So that's 11 p.m. Let me make sure I get this time right. 11 p.m. Central Time to 11:03. I'm going to frame out that candle as well, and then just see how the market trades around that range.
Okay, that makes sense. And what about overnight volume? Sorry, I'm asking these questions. I was really curious. I had a few
It's all good.
questions I was going to ask you before we finish into our rapid fire, and some of it, and
Yeah.
most of them are related to this Nasdaq because Nvidia earnings. It's huge. It's a market mover, and now that
Right.
we had it, we've seen a spike, we've seen a move, and now we're talking about how it's affecting tonight, and then how it might affect tomorrow as well.
For sure. So let's look at last night's 30-minute opening range, and then in relation to what happened today. And this is why I'll look at it, right? So last night's opening range, we had flat VWAP, and here's the New York session open, right? So immediately when we came into fast markets today, I said, hey, let's sell this. Because of this range, we were closing below the low of the range, right? We saw some sell pressure coming in below the low of the range, and I want to sell this because this VWAP is now a sharp, decline.
Right.
So I want to get in this sell. And we can see when we do come back to this 30-minute price at the end of the day, right? That spike that you guys caught stopped right around there. The volume, if we get a volume anomaly at some point in the overnight, right? So if I see a volume spike that doesn't look like anything else, I'm going to frame out that candle and say, pay attention to whatever price that happened at.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Now, moving on, and just going through, watching the Nasdaq. I know you've placed a few overnight trades in the Nasdaq, and it might have been a while for you, but I'm going to continue to look. I'm not seeing anything too crazy. There is one trade setup that I might look and go for tonight. So going back to my charts. This is a 5-minute chart now. So we looked at it from a daily. Let's take a look at it from an hourly chart. And so, yeah, this is an interesting market because we're not really range bound in terms of just sideways. We've been kind of hanging out in this channel. Like, this has been an interesting channel. And right before I finished off Power Hour, before NVIDIA news or before NVIDIA earnings, I was looking at this market. Just every time we do sell off, it seems like the market tends to just find buyers and we catch it. And whether you want to say this is a big zone or however you want to put this, is every time we've had a sell-off, there's been some buyers. And every time we've had a nice rally, of course, we've went back and we're kind of consolidating in a channel, moving slowly up and to the right. And so the next question is, with NVIDIA news and with those earnings, is that going to change the way this market's seeing? We're right in the middle as of right now, hanging around 650. NVIDIA earnings, you can see that big candlestick where we went all the way back down, erased that Power Hour move. We went all the way down to 600, went all the way back up to 750. It was pretty crazy. And now we're right sitting down at 650. And so we're right in the middle. And so I'm just trying to think of how we could approach this market. I'm trying to express like my thought process, what I'm thinking about. I am still liking the longs because the way that I'm viewing it is that these buyers are still in control. We just had a lower high. Is this technically a lower high? Yes. Is this going to be one that affects this market? Maybe, because it was the earnings. But I'm looking for this market to rotate back and see if we can make a higher high. Because we just today, we made a higher low, technically. And so now, overnight, maybe even tomorrow, are we going to see a higher high? And so far, I think yes. To me, it's trade what's in front of us, trade what's in the market and what the market's doing. And as of right now, yes, we're making higher lows. We're making higher highs, even though it's been just pretty crazy when we get down to these lows. And it looks like we tried to break it a few times, but we failed. So to me, it's still bullish until we can break down and sell off and then hold the sell off, which we're failing to do. And when I zoom into this 5-minute chart, I am liking the long side to where you guys kind of see it, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. Is this a higher low that we're currently making here in the Nasdaq? Maybe, but one idea that I have for a slow markets trade tonight is maybe putting like a buy stop at a level where if we do break above it, maybe we can see some continuation. So this is purely an example. I did that risk management or that risk Discord or risk disclosure in the YouTube chat. And so this is something I'm thinking of, and this is something I'm looking at, is maybe putting in some buy stops, and it's up to like how you trade this, whether you want it closer, or whether you want it further away. Maybe you believe that this news candle is going to be a great point where if we do break above it, we'll see continuation. For me, it's going to be, I would like a buy stop at like say 675 as purely an example, where I could limit my risk and have a stop at maybe the low of the NVIDIA news candle, or maybe even the low of the pivot we just made. And I'm going to look for this market to continue up and to the right. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to do exactly that. I'm going to put a buy stop at 675. And let's just see how it plays out. This is purely an example. This is overnight trade where I'm perfectly fine just holding this and letting it run overnight. Thoughts on this?
I like it. If we can pull up my screens, I just want to show you one more thing. I shared these on Twitter, but the monthly VWAP and the weekly VWAP. Monthly VWAP is this green line up here. We can see it kind of holding as a resistance right now. It's at 20,760. And the weekly is the white line below it, which is down at 20,640, we'll call it. I like longs somewhere near these lows. To the upside, though, right? Conservative target would have to be that monthly VWAP at 760, right? Do we get some volume to push us above that potentially? But I also wouldn't be surprised to see price just consolidate between these two, this 100 points for a little while.
Okay. So you're looking for the price to consolidate then? Because that VWAP
I wouldn't be surprised
flat.
at it.
Like those look flat, like very, very flat.
Right. Yeah. You could see the monthly, right? It was trending up at one point. Mm-hmm. We got this sell off and then it just kind of flattened out. That tells me that the market is not so directional. Obviously, we can see it in the price action, but flat and kind of holding as a support and resistance. Strong moves come out of this break, right, in either direction. But we'll need to see the volume to do it.
Yeah. Okay. And you're looking for volume into these moves, right? I mean, obviously,
correct.
That's what the VWAP is there because it takes into consideration volume, correct?
Right. Correct.
Okay. Perfect. Fair enough. So I'm going to leave this order on. Let's move on. Let's take a look at, I'm going to switch it back to my charts, and we'll take a look at crude oil. Crude oil has been interesting. It just finished the rollover, and I'm pretty bullish crude oil right now. And that is simply based off the technicals. If we take a look at the 1 hour chart, you can see during rollover, we did, get down to 66.50s per barrel in crude. And we had that huge rally and we got all the way up to 69. We broke above 69. We're actually holding it and we're now starting to make higher low, and we're also making higher highs around here. So I'm actually liking a long here in crude to see if we could run back up and maybe make a higher high or an equal high, maybe make a run at $70 a barrel. For the short side, it'd be, if we do break either this pivot we just made or this pivot back from the 19th, then maybe we see a continuation back down to 67.88. But I'm a buyer of crude. I like a rally back up to 70 and see if we could hold above that. Maybe that could be something similar to like the Nasdaq trade I was talking about, where maybe I could put a buy stop at the level of resistance. And if we do break above, say, for example, like 69.20, maybe we look for that continuation to the long side. Or, sometimes what I see in crude oil is maybe we make a run, we, hunt liquidity, some stops, and then we reverse and then have a nice rally off that. Sometimes I see that. I wouldn't be opposed for either of those options. Have you traded crude, Jay?
I took a long in crude today and took it for a scratch. And then I remembered that when we were reviewing crude in At the Buzzer, I looked at it and said, this is price action that I don't want to trade. I think crude has had better days as far as presenting setups, at least for what I'm looking for. So right now, I think crude is on the back burner for me.
It's been on the back burner for me since almost a month, to be honest. And that's what it is. Like, that's how it is in the markets, everybody, is sometimes the market that you're trading can struggle to have setups. It could be choppy, especially during futures when there's a rollover. I didn't even touch trade during the rollover or touch crude oil during the rollover. And you hear Hogue and some of the veterans who's traded on the floor, where a lot of people just took vacation and took time off during a rollover. And it's like, why trade it? Let's just wait until things get back to normal. We're just like next week. Next week's a shortened week. We have Thanksgiving. Who's going to be trading on Thanksgiving, right? It's going to be tough to trade Thanksgiving night. Just wait, take a nice long holiday. You don't have to trade. Trading's optional. And I think that's kind of how my mood has been on crude oil. However, to me, maybe things start to get a little bit better. We're going to start to see maybe some better market structure and some opportunities here in crude. Let's watch. Let's see it. I would like to see if we can get that rotation higher. But yeah, there's a lot of chop that's been in crude lately. And so, yeah, that's a good pass on crude.
I feel like I want to be a buyer as well, and I bought it today. My trade was to the long side.
Okay.
I feel like it just does nothing. It consolidates, and then we hear Andre say, "Oh, crude's dropped $1 in the last 5 minutes," and then it doesn't do anything after that. So, if I could plot out exactly when that 5 minutes sell-off is going to be every day, then I'd trade it. But it's kind of uncertain, so I'm going to leave it alone for now.
Yeah, that's how crude has been. It's quiet, and the next thing you know, it's up or down $1 in like a minute, or a few minutes, and then it just dies down again. And that's the market that crude has really been as of lately, and it's difficult to trade. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, things start to change a little bit and it's more tradable for me anyway, because there's going to be traders out there that's like, wow, this is a great market. It's very tradable and easy. And they're killing it in crude right now. For me, it's tough. So that's why, just like you, Coach Jay, kind of just going to pass. I haven't placed any trades on it and moving on to the next. Now, the Nikkei. Let's take a look at the Nikkei. I am long. I am bullish. The Nikkei. Let's go over this. I'm going to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it on the hourly chart first. I'm going to go ahead and switch to mine. And here we go. Here's the Nikkei. This is a tight stopped trade, and we've been consolidating. This is a cleaner consolidation than the Nasdaq. As you can imagine, the Nasdaq was kind of in the channel, consolidating slowly up and to the right. The Nikkei is not. It's just sideways, right, where it's kind of that buy low, sell high type of trade where, buying opportunities down here at the bottom, right around 37,900 to 800, and then selling opportunities when we do get, or if we do get up to the 38,500. And tonight, we ended up rallying. During power hour, we rallied. Tonight, we've sold off. You can see over here on the past hour, we sold off back down into this zone. This has showed a major level of support today during the New York session. And, I'm looking for this to be a level of support again. So if I zoom into, say, a 5-minute chart, you can kind of see it. And this is kind of what I was looking for. Is we sold off down here, and there was some support. I mean, you can imagine what it looks like on the Nasdaq as well. This is some support throughout the New York session around 38,030. I ended up, buying once we got down there, just 2 contracts, nothing too crazy on this account. And, sure enough, we're kind of just sideways. And if we do break above 185, I might look to add. And still nothing, not much going on tonight. And even if we do check this Trader Hub in the news, the economic events, there's a speaker, there's a couple speakers in Europe and the Bank of Japan. So maybe that pushes it. It is a light week for the news. I was talking about that at the very beginning. Just lots of speakers. There's not a lot of news in the U.S. either, right? Now that we've passed the NVIDIA, the next thing is just our typical Thursday, Friday
jobless
events.
claims. Typical stuff. Which
it's going to bring volatility, but it's not anything outside of the normal big news event that people are waiting on, right? Everyone was waiting for NVIDIA. It's already came and passed, and we'll just see how the market reacts out of that.
Yep, Nasdaq's selling a little bit here.
We'll switch it to yours. You trade Bitcoin? I was going to get your opinion on Bitcoin. That was my next question for you, Coach Jay. how do you view Bitcoin? It's been the conversation. I've been playing around with it. I've been testing it out, struggling with it for the most part from the trading aspect.
I need to update my chart. Give me a second.
Yeah.
And we had it on there before. Sometimes I clean off my charts, but that's my opinion on Bitcoin. It is going up. It is still going up. Not a market that I want to short. Maybe around 120,000. But if you're not getting long this market, I think get out of the way because it's just continuing to go up. And in a technical way as well, right? If I'm looking at a 30-minute chart, here is the 200 moving average, which is this white line here. We can see it being a support. The 20 is above the 50 and continuing to trend higher, right? We're getting some separation right now between the 20 and the 50. Not a market that I'm looking to sell anytime soon.
Well, you're gonna laugh then. So over the past week, I've been just testing out Bitcoin in a demo account, which I always tell traders that if you're gonna try a new market, don't do it in live. Do it in just a demo account or something that you could just understand how it's reacting. And every single one of my trades was long, and I've lost them all. They were I was buying Bitcoin on all my trades. I've just had a bit too tight of a stop, and of course, when you wake up in the morning, the trade would have worked out if I would have had a more loose of a stop. But that's been my experience. I've been buying micros and then trying to scale in, and it's just been a little bit messy for me. I'm the only one that buys Bitcoin and takes a loss.
I do think from the trades that I've taken in it, you do have to be a little bit patient, and I think you can go with a wide stop, right? If we look at it here, it's a 50 cents a tick. And I think, you obviously don't want to just risk your whole account, but even with small size, right, the way Bitcoin has been moving, if we look at today's range with a one lot micro, there was, if we go all the way to last night, it's a $300 range with a one lot micro, right? I think putting the trade on and just being patient with it, setting, your stop at a technical level that's not going to get hit, and nothing's 100%, right? You might be buying the highs, but right. Yeah, I think any dips I'm looking to buy, right? So anytime we get a sell off on a 30-minute, something like this, it to me, it's as close as possible to a blind buy that I see in the markets, but that might not be the most sound strategy either.
Just trade small, have wide stops. Eventually it keeps going up then. That's right. Essentially the Bitcoin strategy.
The thing with Topstep accounts, we do have to close the trades at 3:10 Central. So if you're not in the profit, that might suck a little bit, but it's going up.
It's going up. That's great analysis. And then moving on to gold, we'll finish it off with gold. Right at 8 p.m. Central, we do see a spike in volatility. That's typically what we have been seeing. It is coming up on 8 p.m. Central. Pull up gold if you don't mind, Coach Jay, and let me know your thoughts. I know you are. You read the book a whole lot better than I do. I'm more of a technical analysis trader, and everybody who knows you've been here before. You read the order flow a whole lot better than I do. What are you seeing in gold? What do you look for, and what's your thoughts?
This actually looks like a pretty decent long in gold right here.
Really? Why?
I'm looking at a pretty decent long. So
I'm
same
actually
analysis
thinking the opposite of you.
Okay. Same analysis I do for every market. 30-minute opening range here. We have VWAP leaving that range, and we just tested and rejected, trading back inside the range. Ideally, the long would be right around 26.54 with a pretty tight stop, 26.50s about. And let's see, we got that volatility coming in. I may just place a long here, and my XFAs are in Quant Hour, so I may place them there as well.
I like it. Yeah, I'll watch and go through yours, and then I'll give you a little bit of my analysis from a technical standpoint. It's been, I'm not the best gold trader. I'm not the best at shorting it, but I'll kind of show you what I'm looking at after you're all finished.
Yep, I placed an order. My order is in at 53.9. I'm going to move it up to 54.1, and I'll go from there. But I'm seeing a long potential up to 26.80.
Okay.
Yeah, right around 26.80.
That makes sense to me. I mean, if we keep continuing up and if we break out to the long side, that would be my target. Like that's where I could see this market going is 2680, 2679. Like that's the zone that I'm looking at in gold. Switching to my charts, the only thing that would ever have me hesitant, or why I say I'm a little more to the short side, is because of the recent price action that we've seen in terms, like you're looking at November 16th. This was a very strong support. This is a very strong support zone that we bounced off really well, and this is our first test of it, and or kind of maybe you could say this is a second test because we sold off a little bit off of that. However, we just got another 3-bar reversal on the 1-hour chart. It's not very strong. We didn't really break below it. We didn't hold a below it. And we didn't, close the 1-hour candle below that. But this would be one where if we reject and have a little bit of a pullback down to like 26.44, it wouldn't surprise me. I'll go back and say, oh, well, that made sense. This was support. Support's now becoming resistance. That's the only thing I'm seeing. But other than that, it's on the more immediate trend, right? What we've seen this past week has been up and to the right. It's by the dip, and we're, the trend on from this point of view is strong and it's bullish. And so there's no sense, if you're looking at it from this perspective, to short. It's more of where do we buy it, find the dip buys. And that's another example of how different time frames and how you're looking at the market really does matter, where you could find a case to buy and you could also find a case to sell almost in any perspective.
Yeah. The one thing I do like about your shorts, if you have my charts up here, this green line is monthly VWAP for gold, and it is pretty much right where price is right now. We can see the last time, and obviously we get more data as the month goes on, but this was November 7th. We kind of checked it and rejected. And now this is the next test of that monthly VWAP. So I'm looking to see whether or not buyers take control for the month, as sellers have been in control. So if this acts as a resistance, like you were saying, this kind of general area, then I do like that short.
Yeah.
And I'm probably not going to get tagged in this long.
But yeah, on the flip side, like you're saying, is we're at that VWAP and we kind of just broke out. We're coming back, we're testing it. And if it holds, then now the market's above the VWAP. And for a lot of traders, that it's bullish, right? Like that'd be very, very bullish. So it's a decision zone nonetheless. Like this is a decision zone, whether you're looking to short it, whether you're looking to buy it, it's a decision zone. You could have an argument for both sides. This is a major decision zone actually because of those reasons.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to get this entry.
You never know. It's it's at 8 p.m. So we see that spike in volatility. What are we doing? We did get down to what, 54? What's your entry at?
54.
Oh,
it kind of happened already, right? Like how many times?
Tick.
Exactly. How many times do we perfectly tick a level just to get you into a trade? I think I'm not going to get in this now. We'll see. I'm not going to chase it. I may have to move it up, but I'm not going to chase it.
I mean, maybe you get a pullback. But yeah, we just went down to 54, rejected, and that was a dip to buy. That was.
All right. Before I put this on in my XFAs, I'm going to just see what the risk is if I buy this now.
Okay, yeah, you're just testing it, seeing what it looks like on the practice before
I don't
put it on.
I don't want two. I want one. All right, 650. I think I could trade this with micros. Yeah, I'm going to trade this with micros. I'm going to trade it with 5 micros.
Okay, I'm going to watch. Yeah, I'm going to watch. Yeah, I see what you see. It's hopefully it's not one of those things where it's just gone. Like looking at 680s. Do you typically do that, Coach Jay? Do you just put the order on like a practice count, just see what the risk is, see what it looks like before you put it on?
That's what I do with Topstep X, just because I don't love the trading view risk management like measuring tool. But if I have Quantower up on the side, I just measure it out. Like there's a ruler tool that I use. But
Okay,
Yeah,
that makes
same
sense.
idea. This shit is just gonna go.
I know. I'm watching it just go while
It's just
you're
gonna go
playing
without me.
around with trying to get it into
Right.
your account.
I didn't have the micros chart up. What, whatever. It's okay.
Oh, sometimes the better trades don't give you a lot of time to get in them.
Nope.
All right. Well, we're gonna watch this. I'm gonna continue to watch it as well. I'm gonna get to some questions. So as we've been talking since the start of the show, we get fed some questions from the chat. The chat moves really quick sometimes. Gold keeps going up. Coach Jay, great trade in the practice account. just a little quick.
Yeah. Yeah, it just happened a little too fast. It's okay.
Yeah, it's always fun. All you could do is laugh. I mean, it was a great call. There's nothing bad about it.
Right.
So let's get to some of these questions. I seem to do well. I just trade one account, but when I copy trade my other XFAs, I don't seem to be as profitable. Any advice?
You're doing well in practice, but not in accounts that matter.
It sounds like he's doing well in one account, but when he goes to copy, maybe struggling. And to me, that sounds like it's a psychological hurdle. Because if you're doing good in
100%.
one account, but then for some reason you're not doing good if you're copy trading an account, then it's 100% a psychological. It only makes sense because maybe it's now you're thinking about dollars. You're not focusing on the process over the profits. And yeah, thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's definitely a psychological thing. Maybe the number that you're magnifying in your head, you're just not comfortable with that amount of risk as well. Where I think if you're copy trading and you're doing well on one account, don't extrapolate, right? Just trade it like you're trading one account. We'll see traders do it all the time, right? It's like, oh, I made, $200 times 5, it's 1,000, which sounds good when you're winning, but it doesn't sound great to be losing $1,000. And the reason you might be struggling is because you're not psychologically ready to lose $1,000, or whatever that magnified number is. So if you're going to copy trade like you're trading one account.
Yeah. Nope, I agree. And here's the great thing about this is one account is more important. Copy trading, I mean, once you get to a live, it's one account. Live, one account. Like that's the focus. That's the goal. When you go and say you start finding success and consistency and you get that live account, maybe you're taking a payout, maybe you're taking a few payouts and you want to go and open up your own account, your own personal brokerage account. It's one account. Focus on one. If you could do it with one, if you could do it consistently with one, then to be honest, nothing else should matter. You shouldn't have to think about, oh, how many trades is it copying or any of that. Focus on doing it on one account. Get those consistent payouts, and then you'll get that confidence to expand it or increase your position size.
Yep.
Yeah, that's always interesting because it's that psychological. I mean, it's the same.
Yeah, that's definitely it.
It's the same jump when you switch from a combine to an XFA, and then when you switch from an XFA to a live account. It's
Right.
just more pressure. It's more realistic, right? More dollars. Everyone has that emotional connection to dollars. So
The great thing is
go ahead.
the great thing is the market doesn't change.
Yeah.
It's the same market. It's the same market. So it's you, and that's okay, right? I think that's a good thing where it's like, okay, let me figure out what it is in me that I need to change in order to accept this, and maybe it's trading a size that I'm truly comfortable with. Think about risk management, right? We say it all the time, right? Trade a size that you're comfortable losing. You really have, like, whatever that number is, and it's going to be different for every person. Someone could say, hey, on a 150K account, what percentage should I risk? It's really hard. We can give a general answer, but what are you comfortable with? You might only be comfortable with losing $100 a day. Then you have to trade that way.
Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about that before I started the live stream, right? Where it's like, wow, I have a $380,000 account, and that's live money. It's the profits I've made. It's nothing else other than pure cash.
Right.
Like that's $380,000 live account, and I've been getting more and more of this question that you said is, how much should I be risking per trade? How much should I be risking per day? And you guys see it. I'm risking about 1% per day, which is right around $3,000 to $5,000. It was $3,000. I've scaled up a little bit. My single trade size is 5 minis, and my daily loss limit, where I call it a day, is 5,000. If I lose 5,000, I'm done. That's just over 1% of my account. And that's where, if someone thinks 1%, it's like, well, that's not that big. Well, it might not be big now, but if you could follow that process and you slowly grow that account, then 1% could be huge, right? What's 1%?
When you add some zeros, you add some zeros on the end of that
zeros,
account.
right? Like, what's 1% of $1 million? That's what, 10,000? 10,000?
Right.
I mean, imagine making or losing 10,000 a day being 1% of your account, and of course we're talking like bigger numbers than what a lot of traders in here are experienced with, but that's the reality, right? That's the beautiful thing about markets, especially in these type of markets. It's just scalable. It's very, very scalable to where it doesn't matter whether you're trading 1 micro or 10 minis. It's basically the same process.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Yes. Just going through some of these, risk should be very little. Yeah, typically traders, the majority of traders here that I see at Topstep are risking more than they probably should. They're trading too big of a position that they probably should. Some are finding some amazing success. Some it's just temporary, but usually whatever size you think is correct, it's usually too big. It really. It's only, what does Hogue say? You never have enough on when it's going in your favor, and you always have too much on when it's going against you.
Perfect example, this gold trade. I didn't have any on. It was going in my favor. It's pulling back a little bit here.
Okay. Are you still considering it? Is that still a valid trade?
I am. Yeah, I am. I may have to. I really don't want to get in higher than 55. So if we get a pullback to 55, I'll get in, but I don't want to get in higher there. And the reason being, we just saw this rejection up here at 26.63, so that's going to be my conservative price target. Okay. If I get in where we are right now, then it's a little bit less than a 1-to-1 trade. If I get in closer to 55s, conservatively, if we get back up here, it's about a 1.5 to 1. So would like to see the pullback, but yeah, I'm still looking to get in this long.
Okay, so why 55? Why 26.55? Why nothing above that?
Ideally, I want to get an entry below this VWAP because it is flat, right? If this was a angled line, then I'd be buying against it. But because it's flat, it's telling me range bound market. So fade the extremes of the range. We can see flat VWAP for now. We're getting some rejection at these highs. So somewhere near these lows down here, I'd like to buy. And then I'd still risk the low of the opening range.
Okay, so that's your major reason is you have the VWAP, and if it's flat, it's range bound. You want to buy low, sell high, and so you want to buy below the VWAP, and then sell above the VWAP.
Correct. It's funny. My trading mentor, the only person I ever took classes from, when he would give us classes, the answer to almost every question that he asked was volume. And that's why I focus on it so much, because it's how I learned how to trade. But the answer to almost every question was volume, and VWAP is a form of volume. So most of my trades are going to be based around that.
Fair enough. My answer to everything is it depends.
It's a good second answer. Yeah, that's usually my follow-up.
It really always depends on so many factors. Are you bullish? It depends. Are you bearish? It depends, right? Yeah, I might be bullish for the next 3 months. I might be bearish for the next 5 minutes. It really depends. And so typically we get a lot of these very, very general questions. Like, are you bullish or are you bearish? What do you think of this long? What do you think of this buy? It all depends. It depends on what your time frame is. It depends on how big of a trade you have on. It depends on your sizing. It depends on your risk limit. It depends on so many factors. It's hard to give very solid answers. And typically, my favorite questions I like to answer is, you know, usually down the lines of either risk management or trading psychology, where, you know, maybe it depends a lot less, right? Because we all need to focus on the trading psychology and risk management in terms of always have a stop. Always have a stop. That's not out of the question, right? It doesn't depend. You place a trade, you have a stop. There's no question about it. Now, it depends on maybe where that stop is, right? But having a stop is guaranteed. We always need a stop as traders, just because anything can really happen no matter what.
For sure.
I sound like a lawyer. It depends. You got to watch what you say sometimes.
I mean, that's usually a good non-committal answer, right? Because then it could be like, well, you said this. Well, it's like, no, I said it depends.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it really does. I wish it's trading is so individual, Coach Jay, where
for sure.
To be able to give solid answers like that, I almost have to be like a one-on-one mentor type thing. Like, let's take, and it's not going to be just one session. Like, it would need to be a month, 2 months, 3 months of almost working with you daily to give you an answer and to answer those types of questions. I give you an idea of how I trade it, but how I trade it should be different, and it is going to be different to how someone else views it, sees it, and trades it. Someone asked me how this Nikkei trade's going. Flat. Whole lot of nothing. You can see over here, this is a 1 minute. I can switch to a 5 minute chart, or not a 3. Let's do a 5. Whole lot of nothing. You could see, I'm not liking this trade as much as I used to. I seen it bounce, and usually on these types of trades, I like to see it go. I like to see it recover very fast, but you know, we're hesitating. We're consolidating, and now this is. The more it stays down here, the less I like it, because now I'm thinking, you know, maybe is this a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder? And, you know, the more we stay here, the more that I'm not liking this to see like a break to the downside. So usually when I place a trade, I want to see the market recover and bounce, like see how we bounce really strong off these, this support. Every time we do get to support, usually we bounce pretty solid off of it. I mean, here's another example. We sold off, immediately rejection. That was one of those trades where I'm looking for it. I'm actually looking to either close out of this, maybe tighten it up a little bit. And if I can get a tighter stop, I'm actually going to do that. I'll just do 8. Well, yeah, we'll see. I'm going to tighten this stop up. This is one where I plan to let it run overnight, but still not liking it. That's why sometimes I enjoy just placing the trade and just going to bed, so I don't have to go through and think and watch it. But we'll see.
Risk is defined. Sometimes you just got to let it play out.
Yeah. That's the hardest. That's the hardest we could do. You place a trade and then we just sit here and watch it, right? And sometimes nothing good comes out of just staring at your trade, staring at the P&L, because then you start to overthink. You start to let every scenario go through your head to say, well, now it's actually looking like this. Now it's actually might do that. It might do this. And then you start to self-sabotage, where it's like, okay, I'm just going to close it out because I don't like it. And then, you know, moments later, it goes exactly to your take profit, and you're like, what was I thinking? Why did I close it out? Or yeah. Have you had experience? I'm sure you've had. I almost guarantee you've had that, right, Coach Jay?
It happens all the time. It happens all the time.
What about this gold trade?
It looks okay. I'm not eager to get into it in my XFAs really anymore either. It's kind of just hanging out, right? I'll put the bid in at 55s. I'm going to do it with micros. I'm going to trade 3 micros, put the bid in, but it's kind of no volume. It's a pretty slow market right now. Pretty slow market. So, you know, I know you have the Nikkei trade on, but when things aren't moving like this, is this when you're normally just identifying levels and saying, hey, if the market gets here, I'll trade it? I know you have the Nasdaq bid in higher than the market right now, would you scan for other opportunities? Or if you were trading by yourself, not doing a show, would you say, hey, that's it for the night? I'm going to just see what happens with these orders?
Yeah. So if I don't have a show right now, and if it's just me by myself, I do what you guys just see me do every single night. I do kind of like a little rapid fire thing by myself. Well, I'll sit down. If I didn't have slow markets, that's exactly what I'll do. I'd go through, I'll see what the markets are doing. I'll see if there's any trade opportunities. I'll place my orders. And after I place my orders, I might go get something to eat. I might get a drink, use the restroom, go do something around the house. I'll come back. I'll see where the if the market's moving at all. Like, for example, I'll check the markets. Okay, this is where they're at. I'll go do something. I'll see if anything has changed. Nothing has really changed. My orders are still there. And a lot of times sometimes if I haven't went to the gym, I'll go to the gym and then I'll come back and I'll check on it. If I have to go do something, I'll come back and check on it. But that's the nice thing what I like about slow markets, Coach Jay, is my evening is free, where I don't have to sit here actively watching the markets because my orders are in, my stop loss is defined, and I could close down my computer at any point and just walk away. But sometimes I just like to, check on it. The nice thing is, I don't know if it's a nice thing. Maybe it could be very bad is, you have your phone. Sometimes when I'm doing something, I could just check the price, say, okay, great. I don't really move anything from my phone. Everything's already set up. And then, right before bed, I'll check it one more time and I'll go to bed. Sometimes though, after I place everything, I'll turn it down and I'll just go straight to bed, or I just forget. I'll forget. I won't even think about the markets. I'm like, okay, wait. Then I wake up in the morning and say, okay, I had a Nikkei trade long overnight. I took a loss, took a profit, maybe, or whatever happened. So it used to be, I don't want to say addicting, but it used to be where my eyes were just glued to the charts. And when I wasn't in front of my computer desk, I was on my phone. And that was hard for me to get over that. To not be so addicted to watching the markets, whether I'm trading or not.
Our phones are addictive enough, and then looking at it as the opportunity to make money every time you pick it up is a very dangerous thing. So I agree with you, right? No, having that separation is very important.
And this goes without saying, Coach Jay, and I think everybody in the chat could probably know how many arguments that you might have had with family members of like, get off your phone, get your head off the phone. Like, it's like we're watching the markets, but like you're here spending time with family. You're here doing this. You're here doing, and then, it's something that it's a beautiful thing, and the markets could provide a lot of freedom for us as traders. But then it also could be a gel. It's taking up more time, and I think it could take up more time than what a regular job, and it could be not good for your mental health. And so that's why I say, traders, don't overcomplicate it. Keep it as simple as you can make it. Don't make trading harder than it needs to be. Place trades. Make sure you have a stop loss. Follow a process, and then don't stress about it. Don't stress. There's no need to stress. It could hit your stop loss, and you take a loss, and then you move on to the next day. You move on to the next trade. It doesn't define you. You shouldn't let it get to you mentally. That's for sure.
For sure. Shout out to Lisa R in the chat, passing their first combine, just trading at slow markets. So Dakota, shout out to you as a coach and just teaching people how to trade during these times. Shout out to you, Lisa. Continue to do what you did in that combine into your XFA. Manage your risk, and great trading.
Love to see that. Love to see it. Love to see it when traders pass their combines, where some of my favorite are just like that. I've talked to a few people where they end up getting a job and they can't trade during the New York session, and they learned how to trade during slow markets and started enjoying it a lot better, and said, hey, I could spend time with my family during the day, and then I still trade when they go to sleep. It's a beautiful thing, right? So let the markets come to you, and I will always say this: the markets will always be here. You never have to trade, and there's London session, New York session, and the Asian session. You don't have to trade any specific session to find success in the markets. love seeing that. We do have 35 minutes left. Let's get to a few more of these questions, and maybe we could talk about trader statistics. What's your thoughts on that one? We could pull up some
Let's
trader
do it.
statistics because the markets are kind of
Let's do it.
slow. Nothing's really happening. I'll keep everyone updated on this very slow Nikkei trade. But a few more questions. We'll get to some trader statistics. If you want us to review your statistics in Topstep's Discord, I have a channel. And all you'll need to do is go on the left-hand side, click on Performance Stats, you click on Share, copy this link, and then share those statistics in the Topstep Discord in my channel. We'll be able to pull them up. I really encourage you, put some description there. Tell me what you want us to look at. The more description, the better it is for us to review and look at. So that being said, if you see any good questions, hit them up while we wait for some traders to send us some stats.
Yep, I'm answering a couple in the chat. It's a quick one for you. Do you trade the Nikkei every night? I think I could answer that for you. If it presents an opportunity, you'd take it.
It depends.
Do you stick with the same process when you go short versus long, knowing that shorts tend to move differently than longs, if you believe that? I stick with the same process. If we're saying, shorts move differently than longs, I think the market moves a lot quicker to the downside than it does to the upside, right? Stairs up, elevator down. So the time frame that I'm going to give a short trade is probably a little shorter than a long trade, but the analysis is the same. I'm identifying some volume, some type of range, and then seeing how the market responds around those prices. But same process. What about you, Dakota?
Yeah, exactly the same. I mean, it's common knowledge. And if you've been trading for a while, up like a staircase, down like an elevator, sometimes the market sells off a lot quicker. And it's knowing and understanding that, but that has no effect on my process. It's the same exact process, getting in, getting out of the trades. I'm not good at selling markets. I've learned that. I know myself. I'm a bullish trader at heart. I'm a lot better at buying markets than I am at selling markets. Yeah. I mean, it's the same process. I was watching my statistics and I analyze my statistics all the time. And over the years, I don't see buying my long trades are not any more profitable than my short trades. I think even at the exact opposite. Some of my short trades, I tend to have bigger winners sometimes, but they're far and few between. It's just because of that reason, right? Markets, when they sell off hard.
They happen quick. I mean,
and they happen really fast. I mean,
any of the 3% down moves 3% moves that we've seen in the Nasdaq, I think we've had 4 or 5 of them this year. I think one of them was to the upside, and that was it didn't even end up being a 3% up day. It was September 11th this year where we started off selling off 1.5% and then completely reversed it. But all of the, large percentage mover days were to the downside for the most part. And when markets get scared, people just start selling.
Exactly. I mean, unless you're talking about Power Hour this afternoon, that one was
that was insane.
That one was a good one. That was an insane one. That was fun. The funny thing is that's kind of how it is when the markets do sell off. Is that same thing? But the process is the same. The way I get in, the way I get out. You guys see it here each night. You guys see it whenever Coach Jay's on air on TopstepTV. Process. Alt I, whether you're looking to the charts in one direction or the other. It should really be the same. I mean, if you have a way to trade them differently and it works out, I'm not against it. As long as you're able to manage risk effectively, then great.
Let's see if we got any other questions here.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the statistics already coming in. So let's take a look at some of these. Got quite a bit of them. I think it'll be the same thing. You could pull up. Would you be able to pull up on your charts as well? Let's see.
It's in your chat.
Yeah. Just going through this. I preferably XFAs because it's more pressure, right? So just going through some of these If you see one, Coach Jay, just go ahead and put a heart next to it, and we could take a look at it. Okay, there's one. That second one.
Yeah. Yep. I'm looking at that right now.
Yeah. Would you be able to pull that one up on your screen, Coach Jay?
I have it up. Give me 1 second. Let me share that screen with you because I'm just sharing my charts.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, we'll pull this. This was interesting because we typically analyze traders that have. I mean, there's a lot of great traders here. Some of the good profitable statistics. Let's see. Let me know when that's sharing, Coach Jay, and we'll get that.
Give me 1 second. All right, you should have it now.
Still not seeing it.
Did I share the wrong thing?
Maybe you did. Let's see. I'm looking. You guys can see it on my charts. While you're doing that, Coach Jay, I'm gonna just go through and start reviewing these statistics.
Okay.
And as soon as you have it, let me know. I'll be watching out for it. So here's an XFA, a trader's XFA. And I think this is kind of an example of what we were talking about earlier about trading too big, really too early, too fast. So about 55% for the winning trade percentage, which is good. And however, the risk reward is upside down. Scrolling through here, it looks like you've only been in this account for 2 days. The first day was minus $750. The second day was minus $1,300. And as I'm scrolling through here, average trade duration is only 4 minutes, 4 minutes and 50 cents. So, it takes, so number one, big shout out to whoever this trader is, right? It does take a lot of courage to post, any negative trades, right? Because we're all here to learn, and anything that Coach Jay or any you see on TopstepTV, it's never anything negative directly at a trader. It's just let's provide any type of feedback. You learn a lot more from your losses than typically you do your winners, and that's all this is positive feedback, looking for a way to improve as a trader. So I'm going to go through this very unbiased. I don't even know who these traders are, but just simply analyzing and reviewing these statistics out of just brutally honest. And so, yeah, 2 days, it's not very good. This is probably one of those situations where you struggle, right? You get a brand new express funded account, and your first 2 days in that account are negative, and it looks like minus 700, and tonight you're minus 580. Look at this. So this is the thing that just shows up the most for me, where I'm looking at the number of trades, 536 trades tonight. So that's a lot, and we just started. No, that's not the time. That was today. Actually.
That was today, yeah.
Wednesday. Yeah, tonight is Thursdays. I forget. But
no trades yet today.
No trades yet today. So I'm just going through here. If you see it, let me know if
you should have my charts, I think. Or my screen.
Let's see. I see your screen. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah,
let me
that
try
works.
To full screen this. But yeah, today. So I'm looking through this day, and you were up initially. It's a ton of trades, right? You went down, almost blowing the account, and were able to recover it and only have, $1,000 loss day. And I say only because, again, this account was pretty close to the max drawdown. The one thing I'm looking at here, Dakota, this trader started trading at 6:05 Eastern time last night, pretty much when the markets open, and traded until 2 p.m. Eastern time. And there are trades almost every hour in between that. It's a lot of time to be trading.
Yeah, it is.
And we just think about anything high performance, right? Marathon runners have a cap on how much they run, right? We do have ultra marathons and things like that, but just in decision making, right? Especially decision making under pressure, having the expectation of yourself to make sound decisions for that long of a period under pressure, is tough to do. It's really tough to do, right? Want to see some breaks somewhere in there. Again, nice recovery on it because this account was very close to being blown. But give yourself some time off of the charts or away from the charts for sure.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing that I see here.
Quality over quantity, right? Whenever I see a trader like this trading micros, I'm happy. Micros are a very good and useful tool. But then trading this much kind of counters that, right? Because ultimately, I say quality over quantity. Some of the best traders I see and some of the best trading statistics that I've seen, it's 1, 2, 3 trades a day, right? Under 10 trades a day is kind of the sweet spot. Now, there's plenty of traders out there that are very good and, are consistent and profitable that do trade, more than that, but they're used to it, right? They've been there, they've understood it, they've showed that profitability. I will say my one thing for this trader is, however you got funded is how you should be trading. So whatever you did to pass your combine should be the exact same way you trade in the XFA. Too many traders, they pass their combine one way and then they change the way that they trade, and then they trade their XFA differently because now they could receive a payout. So I don't know if this trader's traded this way in their combine and they happen to pass it, but yeah, the less is more. Less is more. Yep.
Yeah.
Less is more.
Again, nice recovery, but don't put that kind of pressure on yourself, because if this is going to be something that you do every day, all the stuff that happens off the charts is important, right? We don't talk about it enough, but sleep, just some time to do something else, anything else, right? Just sit there and do nothing for a little bit can be helpful in making sound decisions. But think we spent enough time on that one.
Yeah.
Anything else you got, Dakota?
Nope. I think that's it. Process over profits, quality over quantity. That's why sometimes it's not the best to pass combines in just 2 days, right? It's sometimes better to spend a month or 2 months to pass a combine and show that consistency. Right. So I'm going to go through some more of these. I'll just put it with a heart on the ones that I see. Hopefully we get some traders in here that has more than just a few days is kind of what I'm looking for. Traders with more than just a
seeing one that said July 1st they've been in it, so it's going to come up on the screen. But same XFA since July 1st. I like that.
Okay, yeah, I see that. I got that one as well. Okay. Yeah, more statistics, the better, right? The more trades, the more data you have, the bigger the sample size, the better it is to evaluate, the better it is to understand, rather than just 1 or 2 days. Because 1 or 2 days worth of statistics, it's such a small sample size, you can't really make it a good judgment.
Yeah. So, and don't want to compare, because again, we say it all the time, there are a million ways to trade and to manage accounts. But just to compare those two reports, right? We just had one after the other. This is 12 or since July, right? So what are we, 5 months since this account opened? And total in this account, there are 533 trades or 418 trades, right? Compared to that other report where we had about that same amount of trades in 2 days. Now, everyone is going to be different, but when we coach and when we look at it, right, if the numbers are in your favor, it's a lot harder for me to tell you that something is wrong, right? We had that trader, Dakota, who traded, 3,000 contracts and made 13 grand. I can't argue with 13 grand. It's hard to.
No.
But when the numbers are not in your favor, then there's room for improvement. Now we look at this report. This is amazing, right? This is, consistency. Trader clearly finds something that's working. 50%, 56% win rate. Your average winners are not much bigger than your average losses. But over time, right, with consistency, you're going to be profitable, right, to the tune of 12 grand and 13 grand in 5 months, right? I'm assuming you took some payouts from this account. I love the fact that, the trade duration, most of these trades are 10 to 30 minutes. So you're finding something, holding on to it, and have a pretty high win rate at that duration as well. This is really good stuff. I'm going to say I'm surprised this account hasn't been moved to a live account yet. But it looks like one that could be moved to one, right? Because not only do you have, streaks of winners, you've proven that you know how to deal with a loss when it happens. Where, you've had, I'm seeing $1,500 lost here, and you just made it back, right? Some losing weeks, and you're still holding that account, which is sustainable over time.
Right.
So really good stuff here.
Yeah. So basically kind of what you said. What I also like on this account is that you're not trading every day. This trader's not trading every day. You don't need to trade every day. Just trade the days that fit your strategy. What are you looking for? If the markets are not acting or trading and moving the way that fits your style or that you like this trader, don't have to trade. You only trade what you want to trade. You only have to trade what fits your strategy. You don't need to trade that. So I like that. I like this trader. I like that there was some journal notes. Only recommendation here is more journaling. I do like that you're letting your winners run. You can see there under the win rate where, most of the losses are being cut short. A lot of the winners are you're holding them. That's a beautiful thing to see. I'm guessing the risk reward is pretty good, right? Yeah, 1.16. Yep. That's not bad. That's interesting. Yeah, I like that.
Not bad.
Yeah, no negative. I wouldn't be surprised if within a week or two, this email and this trader keeps trading like this, they get an email saying they're moved up to a live account. That is an account where I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know the exact criterias, but this looks like if I was to pick a trader to moved up into live,
I'm moving them.
Yeah, I would move one. I'll move them in a week or two. Just keep up the same consistency. Eventually, there's going to be losing days. This is a beautiful example. Yeah.
Go ahead,
look at some other ones. I did get stopped out minus $300 on that Nikkei trade. We are selling off now. So going through a couple more. Like this one. This is Express funded account. I'll go ahead and pull up on my screen now. This is where did it go? It says they took their third payout on this account today. Finally profitable after 8 months. So congratulations. Taking three payouts on one account is a big accomplishment. It's hard enough to take one payout, but to take 3 payouts on a single account is very, very beautiful thing to see. So let me go ahead and pull up, see how long this trader has been trading. And looks like they have had this account since near the beginning of October. So there's a lot of data here. This is good to see. Risk reward is 1.18. The average trade percent or winning trade percentage is 68. This is the most important stat, to me, is the profit factor, right? Winning trade percent is not a solo stat. Average win versus average loss is not a solo stat. The profit factor is the most important statistic when it comes to the up here. That's what I see. Are you profitable or are you not? That's what matters at the end of the day. So nice, consistent trading. I'm guessing that these are the 3 payouts. It looks like you took a payout 1 and then 2. And so probably today is going to update for a third payout, possibly. Scroll down here. 68% is your longs. So I like that. Average trade duration, 2 minutes. Let me know if you see anything, Coach Jay. I'm just going to kind of go scroll through here.
So the average trade duration being 2 minutes, this trader, and we've talked about this in At the Buzzer a little bit. This trader, if we're looking at the days, sometimes there's only 1 trade a day. Sometimes a little bit more. But you've identified in the Nasdaq $200 is 10 points, right? To me, what this seems like is you've identified some type of market action that is presenting that 10 points to you. You're taking it, getting out, and being done for the day. Which is great. The way I was taught how to trade was don't look for I was trading stocks, but don't look for the $5 move in a stock. Look for a 50-cent move And then if you want to pay yourself more, just trade more shares. That looks like what this trader is doing here, right? You've identified 10 to 12 points. You're taking it and then being done for the day. I like the fact that, not trading every day and a bit of a recovery, right? You started off kind of rough in this account, right? Down $1,200, $1,300 on the first 2 days, made it back, and then took a week off. Not sure why you took a week off. Could have been, a decision or just life stuff going on. But then got right back to it. Trading very consistently. Keep this up.
Yeah. I mean, another beautiful example. This is kind of what we were talking about. Quality over quantity, right? With this traders, they see one, maybe two good setups a day. Looks like the one red day, they took 8 trades. I don't know what that looks like. Could you click on that, Coach Jay? Let's take a look. See. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it started out red, and then you tried to build it back up, but then you stopped. So that is a nice thing to see, is that you were able to stop at only and not let that loss get too far of hand. And there's no sense of letting your bad days wipe out an entire week's worth of trading. So I like this. This is very, very important to see. And this is a good example of what I try and tell traders. Like $200 a day is a lot, right? In time, look, it's add up to 3 payouts, almost $5,000 over a period of, a month, only a month, right? I mean, you have some good winning days, but you don't need a lot. You don't need to have these huge home run trades to be a profitable, consistent trader.
And I think we just got a comment from the trader in the chat. Drop to $200 because I'm back in the office, have a short time to trade. Sometimes it's not such a bad thing, right? It is, hey, I have this allotted window. I'm going to place my trades if they present themselves to me, and then the markets don't exist outside of that, right? Which sometimes is important. Coach Paul says it all the time: trade less, make more. That's what this looks like. And Savage just said it looks like you're taking opening range breakout trades, which if we're looking at the time, that looks like exactly what it is, which is the perfect trade to take if you don't have a whole lot of time. So good job.
Opening range breakout trades. I mean, to be honest, sometimes one of the most simplest strategies and trades, and that's all it really takes, right? You don't need a lot of complex ways of trading or a whole bunch of different markets. Find something that works, stick to it, try and stay consistent. And yeah, beautiful example, quality over quantity. Let's go ahead. Let's take a look at maybe just one more, get to a few questions, and then we can finish it up for the evening. Let's go through, help with risk, go through some of these other ones. Some of these are hard, Coach Jay, because I really want to know how they're trading in terms of, I know a lot of traders want to know, like, how can I fix my risk reward? How can I fix my winning trade percentage? That is kind of difficult because I just don't know how they're trading. Maybe we could just take a practice account that I have pulled up here. So this one up near the top, I'm going to just go ahead and hard it right now. It's a combine, but let's take a look at that. I'm going to switch it to my screen. And this is a combine ending in 3605. So combine. This is what I like to see in a combine. Someone who's not just trying to pass it in 2 days. You don't need to pass in 2 days. 60% win, 1.32 risk reward, great profit factor. So not trying to pass in 2 days. Scroll through this, average trade duration 6 minutes, mostly to the long side. I'm liking that. And here's another good example. You're cutting your losses off quicker, and you're letting your winners run. So letting your winners run, that is something nice that I like to see. And journaling, take a look at this. Journaling every single day, win or lose. I like that this trader is journaling during the winning days, and this trader is journaling during the loss day. So, and the loss is not wiping out the entire account. and it's a mix, right? It's not there's a lot of losses mixed in here. There's a lot of wins, but yeah, this is I like this. This is what I like to see. And yeah, I'm just opening up some of these days. There's the first day. It looks like he was down $600, and then you end up making it back up, down 300. Just going through some of these trades. Let me know if you see any.
Yep. Seeing trading a couple of different markets. I see some micro Bitcoin trades here. I see Nasdaq trades, copper trades, gold trades, micro gold trades. But either way, the P&L on the trades, there's not a lot of variation there, right? Biggest loser is $250 regardless of the market. So I really like this, right? Sometimes the market you default to every day may not be presenting an opportunity to you, but that doesn't mean that your risk parameters should change just because you're going somewhere else. So, bouncing around in a couple of different places, we got to keep something the same, and that's your risk. This looks really good to me.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And if you scroll up, just journaling, regardless of whether you win or lose, I think it can be very important to journal your trading day, whether you just say it was a great day, I followed my process, I had a great trade, this is maybe how you were feeling, this is what you were thinking. Whatever it is, it's okay to journal, because then you have a reference point. So when you do go back and you say, okay, some of my better days, what was I thinking? How was I feeling? Why was I trading? What makes my winning days winning days? And so journaling during your losing days can be just as important as journaling during your winning days, because you want to know what you did right, and then you want to be able to duplicate that and consistently do that over and over and over again, especially from your own mentality, especially from your process. And because if you could do that the same every single time, then the only difference is either the market or maybe your strategy, right? Because if you're consistent as a person and being disciplined and consistent in what you're doing, then you're eliminating variables. And the more variables you can eliminate, the better it is. And what better way than to journal daily?
I just realized that this was Lisa who told us that she passed the combine earlier today, and passed the combine tonight in a Nasdaq trade.
Wait, is this the
this is
combine?
this is a 50K combine that is at $3,000. And just made that last $600 tonight. So
well, there you go.
Great job.
Yeah, this is an example of I have the confidence that when this trader is in an XFA, and if you trade exactly the way you did in a combine, when you're in the XFA, you're gonna see some good success like that. That's what you want to see. This compared to maybe a trader that passed in 2 days and then they start trading differently.
The one question I'll ask you, Dakota. So that last trade was a 3-lot Nasdaq trade on a 50K account. How do you feel about that?
Oh, was it? That one is a little questionable. Yeah. Were the other ones 3 lots?
I don't think so. Some of them. Some of them. So just with the 50K, when you go into it, you're not even going to be able to trade 3 lots when you first have the account. So just keep that in mind. But your trade setups are fine. Just keep the risk managed.
Yeah. Scale down. Maybe scaling down. So I do see some of these days that this trader is trading micros.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe
like
scaling down when you
50K.
first get into your XFA, get comfortable in it, focusing on the process, keep journaling, and then you can slowly scale up. The last thing you want to do is put yourself in a hole to start the trading day, to start your XFA, right?
But great job.
Yeah. No other comments. That was beautiful. That's beautiful to see. I love to see that. I like seeing it. I even see a few Nikkei trades in that, which is which is interesting in and of itself.
Right.
So that being said, any last questions? Any last comments from you, Jay? We have 5 more minutes. Maybe we could answer a final question or two.
For me, we have jobless claims tomorrow. Remember, you don't have to trade in that volatility in order to take advantage of it. I would let the at least the first 5 minutes of the news print before I take a trade if I'm looking to trade around that time. But whatever you do, manage your risk. It's most important to keep us in this game.
Risk management. Same. Yeah, that's the same thing. I hate holding trades into news events. Yeah, risk management has to be number one. I know, and I still get traders that do this where they don't have daily loss limits. It's still very, very important to have a daily loss limit, just because you might not, maybe you don't want one, maybe you don't want to have a stop or whatever. It's very important, so that way it keeps you from self-sabotage, and have a stop, right? Even though you might want to close your trade out before it gets there, if you have a stop, during Power Hour we called it the CYA, and even if you don't plan on using it, it's okay to have it.
Yep. My bad. I just realized you were sharing my screen and I put us in the mountains.
Oh, no. But, all good. Where's that at? That's near the
I have no idea. It's a default Windows wallpaper.
Oh. Fair enough. We could go wherever we want.
Exactly.
What is CYA, Coach Jay?
Cover your ass. Have a stop.
Yes, it's a stop loss. Yes, your stop loss. Yep, that's exactly what it is. So, yeah, that being said, make sure you have it covered. So I'm going to end it there. Thanks, Coach Jay. It is another great one. Always love having you on.
Thanks.
On Wednesdays. Gives me someone to talk with. Hopefully we could make it more consistent. Maybe we get you on another day as well. I know Nick Vertick is gone. Maybe we
he's out for a little bit.
You do that, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. Next thing we know, you're going to be on every night. You're gonna be trapped.
I gotta sleep here with me. Gotta sleep at some point. But thanks everyone. Thanks for having me on as always, Dakota. Always fun to do this.
Awesome. Thanks. Take care. Good night, everybody. Bye.